The packaging industry has changed dramatically, right? It's gone through a huge consolidation effort starting in the late 70s, early 80s. So you had all these other companies combined into, were about 6 companies owned about 80% of the market, right? And that's just on the corrugated packaging side. It happened everywhere. Now it seems to be actually expanding a little more. And so the big change in packaging has been consumer-driven packaging and consumer-driven decisions, as well as club stores, e-tail, things like this, right? So all these things have created what I call a high frequency rate of change, and all those things have been reflected in the supply chain, the operations, how things get delivered, and everything has to happen faster.
The industry in packaging has changed a lot. Everything is getting smaller. Everything has to be sustainable now. So and we were doing a closed loop system at my previous job as a packaging engineer. So nothing could be disposed of. Everything needed to be robust enough to get through a full closed loop system, as in it gets packaged, a consumer uses it, they return the package, and then it gets reused again. Potentially sent back to Asia to be recycled, and back here to be reused again and again.
Yeah, it's changed dramatically, and a lot of it's been driven by the consumer. Especially around the 2000s, where their demands and their tastes started to change, and that really changed the scope of packaging. So we started to see things like shapes being introduced, packages that had to fit in a cup holder, packages that had pourability, tamper evidence. All that changed packaging, and it really set innovation forward on a path that we all had to catch up to.
The industry's changed a tremendous amount. Over the 12 years I was in the food and beverage industry, we've seen so many things change. You've seen changes in retailers, the influence they have on the industry, the types of retailers that are out there. But then more recently, you've seen a tremendous shift in customer and consumer preferences, how they influence what manufacturers are putting out in the marketplace, how they get their products to consumers. So a lot of how they do what they do has changed. Many of them haven't changed necessarily what they're doing. We're starting to see that change as well, as we've seen new players enter the marketplace and offer competitive products that legacy manufacturers have never even considered offering to consumers before.
Drastically. So in cosmetics, that industry has changed most recently, driven by all of the social media brands, and the pace of change is just so much faster than it was 5, 10 years ago. The complexity is also increasing. So all over, it's just a harder thing for everybody in that business to manage.
Over the years, I've definitely noticed that there has been a shift in thinking about what the best type of packaging should be. And that means good for the company, good for the environment, good for the customer. So what I've noticed is that there has been a trend of going to lightweight packaging. And that means that, the businesses are buying less paper, so it's economical for them. There is less paper being used, so it's great for the environment. And then the customers are actually coming around to this idea as well, that they're really noticing that minimal packaging can be a great thing.
Yeah, the packaging industry has changed tremendously over the last several years. Really, historically, nobody really cared how product made it. It just had to be there. And so packaging was very benign, not really descript. That changed as the retailer influence became very large. Everybody wanted to differentiate the experience. You had the big box retailers come in and want to obviously change the way product was purchased in the retail environment. That's continuing to change with e-commerce and the impact of that. Private label branding is real big. Obviously, sustainability is a major topic today. And globalization of product, making it around the world, and both the influence of the domestic market internationally and international coming into this market. So I'd say packaging in general has grown tremendously, and it's also become a lot more complex and a lot more scrutiny of the public on it.